Hi, everyone. Welcome to Naturally Immune for Life. I thought I would come on and just read a gut fix post I wrote for a particular person. And I thought it would be helpful to others. And I also can't give direct medical advice. So I formed it in a post. And I've included sources and everything in this particular post. And since I didn't write a second post for the week, I thought I would just come on and do this and elaborate where I didn't want to make it a book length. So maybe there are some places that need some filling in information. So this is mostly from memory, and I'm just going to wing it today. So it is Gut Fix 101, and it is common supplements and natural foods. And basically, these are the top supplements. Um, the 20% that does 80% of the work and are generally considered as safe and well tolerated and well studied. Well, some of them are newly studied, but I did include the sources here. So, common supplements in natural foods. Slippery elm and marshmallow root capsules. Slippery elm and marshmallow root help soothe the gut lining. Slippery elm and marshmallow root soothe gut inflammation. And by the way, this is a popular supplement and additive in teas, throat lozenges, all kinds of things. So it's pretty much over the counter at this point. Slippery almond marshmallow roots soothe gut inflammation, mainly by forming a gel-like protective coating over irritated tissue, reinforcing the mucus barrier and potentially reducing inflammatory signaling. Use these as you begin to restore your gut health naturally with food and eventually eliminate. Some immediate relief should be felt. You can learn more in the sources below and follow the directions on the package. Slippery elm in particular, once ingested, this gel coats the esophagus, stomach, and intestines. It acts as a physical barrier against stomach acid, digestive enzymes, and irritants. Reduces friction in inflamed tissue, and this is especially helpful in conditions involving irritations such as gastritis, reflux, or inflammatory bowel irritation. Marshmallow root works very similarly, but is often considered even more mucilage rich. Secondly, SIBO recipe. SIBO recipe works in part by reversing inflammatory macrophages in the gut to anti-inflammatory macrophages and by reducing H2S. Some immediate relief should be experienced. Don't use more than 2 weeks, and you can find it on the site. And that is basically baking a very small amount of baking soda, a small amount of magnesium oxide, I believe, and a few drops of zinc and water. Floristore, Saccharomyces boulardii is CNCM 1745, marketed widely under the brand name Floristore, is one of the most researched probiotic yeasts in the world. Unlike typical probiotic bacteria, Saccharomyces boulardii is a non-pathogenic yeast with unique properties that make it effective for supporting digestive health. It's found in fruit peels. Florastor became the commercial name for this strain because it remains a leader in probiotic yeast supplementation today. Its key benefits including supporting gut flora balance, preventing antibiotic-associated diarrhea, and reducing symptoms of gastrointestinal disorders such as IBS and IBD. Consult your doctor for an appropriate length of treatment. You can use this to help eliminate toxins and yeast in the gut prior to introducing beneficial bacteria and friendly yeast. Saccharomyces boulardii is not a colony-forming yeast. It must be resupplied. Bovine colostrum, yogurt, whole-fat mammal milk yogurt, and kefir, whole-fat mammal milk kefir are preferable. Bovine colostrum, yogurt, and kefir are natural foods for digestive health. They are well tolerated. Add as much bovine colostrum powder to whole-fat mammal milk yogurt as you like and can tolerate well. Start with 1 teaspoon if necessary. The whole-fat mammal milk yogurt will dissolve the colostrum powder because of the whole-fat content. Colostrum will dissolve in fat. Combine the kefir to make a milkshake-like drink. Drink daily for at least 4 to 6 months. Bovine colostrum is a potent, live, minimally processed food product. It is considered to be a universal donor for most mammals. Colostrum, followed by breastfeeding, is a natural first food to help the human infant mammal develop proper gut brain, and immune health. Greek yogurt can be consumed, but it is not ideal. You want whole dairy products with the least processing, as close to their natural state as possible. And you can learn more on my site why that is. Whole-fat mammal milk is necessary for providing a substrate for beneficial organisms to thrive. Begin with at least 250 milliliter, which is actually a cup. Pretty much around a cup. You don't have to begin with that much, but I put that because even if someone is lactose intolerant, most people around the world can consume at least 250 milliliters per day. If I have that paper somewhere in my files, I will put it, but that was an actual worldwide recommendation regarding lactose intolerance in some populations, specifically Asian. So do not introduce to infants unless under doctor supervision. Infants should be breastfed until whole-fat mammal milk is introduced at the proper time. Regular pasteurized whole-fat mammal milk that is available to most adults is fine. Avoid UHT milk products. Never use skim milk products. Whole-fat mammal milk has a ton of oleic acid, and that is something you want. Non-breastfed people with inherent poor gut development and impaired tolerance issues usually cannot tolerate raw milk. Too many organisms, unhealthy or poorly fed or sheltered cattle, affecting their gut health, limited availability, and should be locally sourced. This is not a place for a discussion about raw milk versus regular pasteurized whole fat mammal milk, just for utility's sake and convenience sake, and making your life easier sake. There aren't enough of everything in regular whole fat pasteurized mammal milk to suit your purposes, which I've just written about recently, actually. So that is beyond the ability of the average person to determine whether raw milk meets standards. So it's this isn't a battle of raw milk versus pasteurized milk. So supporting ingredients, probiotic capsules. Find a brand suitable for you. Choose colony forming units in the billions, not millions. Add to your daily drink. The number of beneficial bacteria and yeast in natural foods like homemade yogurt and kefir comparatively to probiotic capsules is in the trillions, not billions. You can add more strains over time. Probiotics sold over the counter are generally regarded as safe and combine the right strains to benefit the most people. Be sure they include bifido strains. Probiotics are necessary, and by using naturally fermented foods, you can introduce beneficial bacteria and friendly yeast over time. Most people find probiotic capsules helpful, but only when consumed with whole-fat mammal milk, as these synergistic partners are the most well-studied and well-tolerated. Every introduction of a new strain of probiotic or friendly yeast may cause a reaction. Stick to over-the-counter products in the beginning. Bacteria and yeast are both local and global. So, diet and additional supplements. Consume well-cooked and well-tolerated foods. If you have food intolerances, add food slowly to enable your digestive system to create the enzymes necessary for digestion. Seek medical help or professional nutritional guidance if necessary. If your food intolerances are caused by moving to a new country and introducing new or unfamiliar foods, they generally resolve over time, provided you were breastfed. Cod liver oil and omega-3 oils like fish oil and salmon oil will help provide vitamin support. Oils can impact gut health immediately. Choose an appropriate oil for cooking. Some oils can be dangerous and cause intestinal bleeding if overconsumed. Do not take oils for health benefits without intensive research or without doctor's supervision, because some oils are also blood thinners. Fish, salmon, cod liver, olive, and avocado oils are generally considered safe, beneficial, and well tolerated. Avoid trans fats. Eventually add more fiber to your diet when it is well tolerated. Consume naturally fermented foods like sauerkraut and kimchi as often as possible, if well tolerated. You might find other fermented beverages like kombucha are not well tolerated in the beginning. Mostly because those are derived from soil-based organisms usually, and as we all know, babies don't even begin to get that in their diet until they are ready to eat food that comes out of the ground. Okay, so you might not tolerate it very well. As long as you are achieving a healthy balance of foods without suffering nutritional deficiencies, quality matters more than quantity or variety. Avoid diet extremes like veganism, avoid fad diets, avoid processed foods and empty calories, avoid both carbohydrate and protein malnutrition. You're with improper gut formation, you are already having vitamin deficiencies and biosynthesis issues. Why add to them with an extreme diet? So, humans consumed and acquired the ability to adapt to their local food culture in times of feast or famine. Give your body time to naturally digest. Do not graze, snack, or consume beverages all day, especially sugary ones, including fruit juice. Follow strict sugar consumption guidelines, which I've included those. Digesting requires fasting and detoxification, and autophagy will not begin without it, and this includes chewing gum. Only water does not interfere with the digestive process in humans. So you have to give yourself hours between each meal to digest properly. And then you should probably give yourself at least a minimum of 12 hours of fasting between bed and breakfast. Conclusion: these are the most widely used and well tolerated supplements and foods to enhance gut health based on current research. Symptoms may be widespread, affect whole body systems, and are generally hard to pinpoint, but they can include pain, rashes, or mood and sleep disorders, in addition to obvious digestive issues and immune disorders. Don't hyperfocus. Provide symptom relief as necessary. The minimum reported time frame to restore healthy gut balance is at least 4 to 6 months based on averages. However, it must be noted that these mirror time frames for proper infant gut, brain, and immune development that occurs via breastfeeding, and that is 4 months to 2 years, or up to 4 years in countries where parasitism is high, and this person did come from one of those countries. So you can find more information throughout this site, including the library, to learn why all of this is in this short post. References are always included. You may find it necessary to follow these guidelines for up to 2 years to find further nutritional and health benefits, and then maintain for life, at least once or twice per week, to ensure your gut remains healthy and help provide basic minimal nutrition. If you weren't breastfed or are elderly, post age 65, that is most definitely so. Daily consumption is best. I'll get to why in a moment. In a best world scenario, the long-lasting benefits of breastfeeding, such as RNA and DNA repair, specifically, begin to decrease with advancing age. And that occurs around age 63, and that has actually been studied. These food guidelines were common practice for the world population before the introduction and over-reliance on processed foods, including infant formula, and the introduction of antibiotics which destroy natural bacterial and friendly yeast balance. This also includes stronger drugs like chemo and injections, which may affect natural bacteria and immune function status as well. Clean water, quality foods, sunshine, and fresh air, avoiding too much sugar and exercise are also a necessity. Always consult your healthcare professional or nutritionist. People with galactosemia, a rare condition, should avoid all milk products. Okay, an unhealthy gut. Okay, let me say why this timeline. Oral natural immune therapy. It has always been out there, whether specifically or implied that this was an acknowledgement about the failure of infant formula to properly provide for human mammal development. So, that being said, when adults began natural oral immune therapy, whatever form, there are only some follow-up some studies that are long enough and large enough to imply that these benefits would be long-lasting. But this is generally in children, and there are no revisits to adults who have used these therapies. So there's no follow-up as to how long they actually use the therapy, and there's no follow-up whether they continued it daily, weekly, twice weekly, 3 times weekly, whatever. So there's not enough follow-up to provide that kind of information. So that has to be implied from the gold standard results, and that is breastfeeding. Okay, so that's where that comes from. An unhealthy gut impacts every pillar of health, including basic nutrition. And you can learn why on the About page. So it affects immune system health and offers autoimmune prevention, bones and arthritic conditions and disease, including stem cell formation and repair, spine and nerve function and repair, muscle health, blood formation, collagen formation, infectious disease, including diarrhea, metabolic health, detoxification, energy creation and biosynthesis, mental health, brain development, brain repair, cognitive function, sleep disorders, and microglia health. In 2005, only 10% of children in the US were breastfed. Only 40% of the world's children were breastfed in 2005. Consult your national statistics regarding infant formula use, including homemade infant formulas. Replacement formula may have been a widespread practice. And speaking of industrialized products, as early as 1910. Adverse health effects can be generational. Healthy microbiota is passed from mother to infant via breastfeeding, including crucial early bifido colonization. Today, formula makers are restricted from making similar benefit claims. So, okay, another thing. At some point, we are going to have to go back to philosophy here and recognize there can be no such thing as ethics without philosophy. So the basic thing is you can't give what you don't have. So the World Health Organization has stated that breastfeeding, food security, and clean water are critical factors in that order of importance for the prevention of disease and chronic conditions. So my warning is don't join the SAM Club and help reverse these trends for future generations. Missing just one of these critical factors impacts health for life. Missing all three is a matter of life and death. So children that aren't breastfed lack quality food or enough food and clean water, usually die from diarrheal diseases at a very young age. The truth about sugar: your body has no biological need for fructose. It can make all the glucose it needs without it. Added sugar, especially in large amounts, harms metabolism and contributes to chronic illness. Natural sugar in whole fruits is safer because fiber helps protect your body from sugar spikes. Table sugar is a highly refined bonded disaccharide sweetener, which is 50% glucose and 50% fructose. The American Heart Association guidelines are: women, no more than 6 teaspoons, 25 grams of added sugar per day. Men, no more than 9 teaspoons, which is 38 grams per day. Children, 3 to 6 teaspoons, depending upon age. And babies under 2, 0 added sugar, because this is definitely not good for their liver. So the sources include slippery elm, marshmallow root, and milk does a probiotic good. And this was an early preliminary research. They discovered that mice fed LK-Si in milk exhibited fewer symptoms of IBD than did mice fed milk alone or the same probiotic strain in a non-food supplement format. They also demonstrated that mutant forms of LK-Si, which were unable to produce certain milk-based proteins, were unable to prevent the disease, further underscoring the importance of dairy-based delivery system for this probiotic. And that's just, IBD is just an umbrella term for all different kinds of intestinal inflammation, inflammatory intestinal conditions. Note this research was preliminary and has been further developed and confirmed since the date of this particular publication. Okay, so there you have it. And you should expect to find some immediate relief in about 2 weeks, and probably one of the first things you're going to notice is better sleep and better skin, better looking skin. Bovine colostrum is amazing what it does for your skin. So, okay, that's pretty much it. And I hope you find this useful, helpful, It should be the most viral video on the internet, but I'm going to have to depend on you for that. But this is the most, like I said, 20% of the products that do 80% of the work. Okay? And they're all pretty much food-based products and or some very minimal use of plants and yeah, plants. Okay, everyone. I will see you next time, and thank you so much for your time. You have a great day and a great week. Bye.